What if God says once you're created, He's done with us and doesn't want to hear from us again? Good luck. He loves us, but good luck. Wouldn't that be something not to be able to express yourself or talk to our Maker? So prayer is beautiful. If that was taken away, that'd be horrible, right? So that's why I put in extreme privilege. Does God, we don't know absolutely, but based on our experiences over almost 30 years, do we believe God hears every prayer?
Yes.
And that's based on our experience, it's based on the nature of God, sumad, right? So we don't know 100%, but based on all the data and experiences, we're pretty sure He hears every prayer. And literally turns, says, yes, my child, right? Singing the ancient name of God, Hugh, is our foundational prayer, right? We can pray, you can speak from the heart, express what you're feeling. You're free to pray any way you want to. You can do a rote prayer, any kind of prayer you want. But our foundational prayer is Hugh. Why? What's the advantage of the Hugh?
It's unencumbered by words.
It's unencumbered by words. We hew mostly from the heart. God listens to our heart, maybe more than our brain. If we have to come up with words, it's probably bringing the brain in. When we hew, we're trying to get away from the brain and just the soul speaking from our heart. We're unencumbered by having thoughts, which can get in the way. Can we have a wordy prayer if we want to? Of course. But our foundational prayer is a hue, which kind of goes around the brain, soul to God, child of God, outside of our mind, which is a blessing. And we're comfortable with that. That's our primary prayer. Can you pray any way you want? Sure. How about rote prayers? Like we saw, I think, 20 or 30 rote prayers when we did one of these days of wisdom of the Catholic Church, which we're not knocking, but they're memorized prayers. Based on our understandings, would we rather speak a memorized prayer, rote, or a prayer from the heart, even if it's not as beautiful? Which one are we think God's more interested in? Prayers from the heart. If you have a memorized prayer that you can keep it fresh from the heart, then that's fine. The problem with rote prayers and memorized prayers, like the Catholic Church has a whole list of them, if it just becomes mental, and it's not heart to heart, we think you lose something in prayer. Best prayer is from our heart to God. So when you memorize stuff too much, it's easy to fall in the trap of being rote. If you can keep from being rote, and you feel the words and you express it from the heart, then that's fine. So is there any way you're not supposed to pray? Can you pray any way you want? Best from the heart, though. Is that what we believe? Heart to heart of God. So here's a foundational prayer. Because it goes around the mind, we sing Hugh, a love song to God. Hugh is also a name for God. So we're just singing His name with love. But if you want to have words, that's fine too. Singing Hugh has the potential to raise us up in consciousness, making more receptive to God's light, loving, guided hand. What about a prayer you just memorize and you repeat the same prayer verbatim from memory, and you fall in that rut? It's mostly mental. Does that raise you up or not do much of anything? So memorized prayers are okay, but the slippery slope is if they become rote, they lose some of the oomph a little bit. That's why we like the Hugh, because it's from the heart. And it goes, kind of leaves the brain, we don't have to think so much, it's heart to heart. Hugh has the potential to raise us up in consciousness. What does that do for us? What's the advantage of raising during a prayer up in consciousness? The potential, not for sure. Are they more likely better words or more precise words? If you raised up in conscious, your choice of words might even be better or express more what you're really trying to say from your heart. Where a formal prayer that's mostly memorized, it would seem has less chance to raise you to a higher consciousness. And with the Hugh, when you raise to a higher consciousness, potentially, are you more able potentially to hear the response? Heart to heart, from God's heart to us, versus just a mental response. Yeah, the hue's a blessing because we don't have to come up with words. Do you think anybody in here that really loves God could stress a little bit that you don't have the perfect word and you need a dictionary to pray, or you don't think it's the word, you're looking for a different word? Where the hue is unencumbered. We just sing it with love from the heart, and God accepts that as a beautiful prayer. We don't have to get mental and try to keep getting a better word or a better synonym or a bigger, more beautiful word. It simplifies it. And I think that's why God gave us the hue, because he just wants us to sing a love song and not have to worry about words. And what if we're not very good with words, or we can't even speak English or any language? We're sort of slow in that area. We can still sing hue, right? Because it transitions the mind. So if somebody's not real good in the mind or good with words, they can sing hue with love in their heart, and they're covered. You don't have to be an eloquent speaker to talk to God. So the hue is our primary prayer. But once you sing hue, it raises you up to higher consciousness. If you speak words, are your words probably more eloquent, more perfect for what you're trying to express? Yeah, so our starting prayer is a hue, but then if you want to talk, that's fine, or express yourself. And the big thing is, after we pray, we like to listen to what God has to say. A major part of our prayer is we express our love to God and whatever we want to, and then we want to listen and get a response from God. Let God speak. It's a two-way street. Now, we may not hear words, but we may get feelings, nudges, a knowingness, maybe not actual words, but there's definitely two-way communication, and that's what we like, the two-way. We always want to give God time to express himself, probably not in words, but nudges or knowingness or feelings or something. We want to give him a chance to express it himself. We desire to trust God and surrender to his will rather than our own. Why is that added after prayer? What if he responds and he gives us a direction a little different than we were planning? That's where we plug our ears, right? Hopefully we're receptive to a change of plans. And hopefully we're receptive to the will of God more than our will. And do we trust his will? He loves us so much that his will probably be better than what we thought would be. So we desire to trust God's feedback over our original plan. And we've been so fortunate. We've been to the 12th heaven, and sometime or another, every once in a while, every few years, you pray on the 12th heaven, and you've seen God actually accept the prayers, right? So we tend to believe from our experience, we're pretty sure that he at least hears every prayer. And because we don't hear a response, or we don't understand the response, that doesn't mean he didn't respond. It just means that's our problem. Does God tend to respond in some way, shape, or form to our prayers? Does it always come immediately? Could it be in a dream? Could it be a day later? But genuinely, we know he responds to a heartfelt prayer, right? Prayer is very special that we get to pray. And what if he wouldn't accept our prayers? Once he created us, you're on your own. So prayer is a very special, sacred time.